Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this lovely afternoon to join our technical sharing webinar. The topic today will be revolving on our GoodWe residential energy storage solutions. So once again, I'm Ng Siu Chun, the technical sales manager for Malaysia as well as Indonesia and Philippines. So I'm very honored to be able to bring you our GoodWe solutions for today's webinar session. Without further ado, let's start today's session. So this is this is basically GoodWe product portfolio. So we have both solutions, one for hybrid, always starting with the E series, that is for hybrid. That's what we always call DC coupling solutions. And of course, also the AC couple solutions where we have this B series that start with B. So as you can see here, we have both solutions that suit LV, a low voltage battery, which is 48 volts, and high voltage battery which is above 48 volts, so around 100 up to 400 plus 500 volts. So for single phase inverter, we have ES, EH series, and also the ESA, which is an all-in-one solutions. We will come back to this later on. And for three-phase series, we have the high voltage battery from 5 to 10 kilowatt. So the same scope for the AC couple. For single phase, we have both low voltage and high voltage, the SPP series and the BH series. While for the three phase, we have the high voltage BT series. So I hope this is a very clear overview on the residential products that is offered by GoodWe. So GoodWe solutions, we basically provide three kinds of operation mode. The first one would be the self-use to maximize your self-consumption. The other one would be the backup mode. And of course, the last one would be the time of use mode. So first operation mode would be the maximize self-consumption. As you can see here, so this is basically the load consumption curve of a residential home. And during the daytime, there is excess power from the solar generator. So we will use the excess power from the solar generator to charge the battery. And at the same time, during the evening period or the early morning period, the battery can then discharge the power that is stored before that in order to maximize the self-consumption. So basically, all of this solar power will be used for local consumption of the home without any export to the grid and so on. Yeah. So this will be able to increase the self-consumption rate of a household. The next one would be for the backup use. So the backup use is basically that it is a power supply security during power outage. So our system solutions will also support all these power outage. So it is extremely suitable for countries that have a big grid or maybe experience a lot of power supply outage. So as you can see, battery charged normally during the daytime, and it will not be discharged until a grid outage happens. So when the grid outage happens, the battery will start discharging and then to support the load. So you will not experience any power outage or power loss. So our solutions also be able to, if designed properly, be able to provide you 24/7 of grid power security. And also the main selling point of our solutions is we always support UPS level switch time. So I will go into more details later on. So the next one is more on the financial part of it. It's a time of use. For countries that have various tariffs for different period of time, then it is also suitable by using the hybrid storage. So basically, you can tell the system to charge the battery during the period where the tariff is low. That means you will use the grid to support your load during that time, and then discharge it during the period when the tariff is high. This is in order to maximize the financial benefits from the system. So basically, you always purchase electricity from the utilities during the low peak price and sell and reduce the consumption from the grid during the high peak price. So the main aim with this operation mode is to reduce the electricity cost. So it's a pure financial decision here that we are looking at here. Also, our system also support unbalanced output solutions. So for example, as you can see, we do have a 5 kilowatt generation from our solar generator. But at the same time, for three-phase system, it's very common that even at home that we may have different load at each phase. So what our system could do is actually they could supply asymmetrical power output to each phase just to cover whatever local loads needs it. So there would be zero power export to the grid. So any excess power will be then charged and stored inside the battery. So with this capability or features, we are able to make sure that there is no power export into the grid or no wastage of the green power selling back into the grid. This is extremely important for countries that have a very high, very low feed-in tariff rate, or they don't enjoy a one-to-one NEM system, net energy metering system. So people would like to avoid selling the excess power back to the grid or exporting the excess power back to the grid. So this feature is also very important for that purpose. So this is the operation logic basically of the hybrid inverter or our system. So the algorithm, the energy management system algorithm will be implemented or integrated within our hybrid inverter. It will come with our hybrid inverter install. So basically, in terms of the PV supply priority, when we look from the PV solar side, so basically the PV solar power will, at default, will be delivered to the backup load as well as the on-grid load. So our main aim, the highest priority is for the solar power to be delivered to the loads. The next one, when there is still excess power, then we will store it or charge the battery. Only when the battery is already fully charged, then we will consider exporting the power to the grid. So basically, that is the default logic of our inverter. So as you can see, our main aim is to maximize the self-consumption. We try to use all the solar generated power locally, be it to supply to the load or to charge the battery for later usage. So we try to minimize the power export into the grid. So the next operation logic, if we are looking from the load consumption, bearing in mind we are also still doing the maximize self-consumption. So basically, whatever the load demand locally will be supplied firstly by the solar, and then only by the battery. So let's say when we do have a not so sunny day, the load is higher than the power generated by the solar. Then the battery will be discharged to compromise any deltas that is not sufficient, cannot be provided sufficiently by the solar generator. Only lastly, when both output is not enough, sufficient to support the local load, then the power will be purchased from the utilities. So by having this algorithm in place, we can really minimize the power purchase from the utilities and reduce your electricity costs. Also, the third operation logic that is incorporated in our hybrid inverter would be what happens when there is power outage. So basically, you could see that there is no more grid from the utilities. It's gray out here. So what happens here is our system will automatically switch to a backup load mode within 10 milliseconds. That is what we call UPS level switch time. Within 10 milliseconds, and support all the critical loads that need to be powered. So the critical loads will be supported by both the solar power as well as the battery power. So any insufficient power by the solar will be then supplied by the battery directly. So all this will happen automatically, and then we can have the 24/7 power security. Yeah. Okay, so the next one would be what happened if my client have already installed solar before that. So then our AC couple solutions, which we call the retrofit solutions, will come into place. So basically, independent of what kind of brand, which brand the solar inverter is, our AC couple solutions can cater to all brands of grid connected inverter. So as you can see, we will add additional CTs here to read the power generation from the grid connected inverter, whichever brand it is. It could be from GoodWe or other third-party brand. So we will read that and then feed back to our smart meter, and our algorithm, our energy management system algorithm incorporated into our AC couple inverter will take care of all the controls. So basically, we would not reduce any power generation from here, but we will make sure that any excess power from the solar generated here would then be used to charge the battery or provided to the load. So the intelligence will be incorporated inside our AC couple inverter. So also our three-phase inverter, the ET series, remember the three-phase hybrid ET series can support the parallel connection. So for household that requires more power, it is possible to parallel connect all the inverters. So we can support up to maximum 10 units connected in parallel, which brings you to a system size of 100 kilowatt and 200 kilowatt hour of batteries. So yeah, they are connected everything parallelly, and we will need a master communication box called the SEC 1000X to do the communication between all the parallel inverter. Yeah, and also we are able to supply unbalanced output here. Besides that, our system also support for system that customers that would like to have to use single phase inverter, for example, the ES series or EH series to be connected to a three-phase system. That is also possible with our system, but you need to work with a smart meter that have three-phase. So what we will do here is we will read the incoming power that is purchased from the grid and command that the hybrid inverter to feed in the same amount of power into a single phase. So what we are achieving here is actually just a virtual net zero thing. So we try to output more power here into a single phase to cancel out, to offset the other purchased incoming power from the two phase. And yeah, so this is dependent on your countries whether this is allowed or not. But basically, from technical wise, our system do support these features. Also for capacity extension, it is also possible to incorporate hybrid inverter into your original PV system. So I have mentioned about the AC couple solutions where actually you only have a hybrid storage inverter without any additional solar panel. But with hybrid inverters, it is possible still to expand your kilowatt peak installation capacity on top of your rooftop. So for example, for customers that have still have enough roof space and their consumption have increased and they would like to add more solar panel and also a battery for power security or backup and so on, it's always possible to add on the hybrid inverter. So like the AC couple solutions, it functions exactly like the AC couple solutions. We will have two CTs, and the second CTs will read the power generated from the grid connected inverter and then feedback into the hybrid inverter. So the energy management system within the hybrid inverter will take control of all the intelligence and then do the smart controlling here. Yeah. So this is also possible that you are able to expand your solar capacity with our hybrid inverter. You do not need any additional on-grid inverter for this purpose. Also, as we all know, currently the battery price, lithium-ion battery price is still relatively expensive. So for customers that are looking into the future, they are trying to look for a future-proof solutions. GoodWe also provide a solutions, what we call it hybrid ready. So basically, it's the same hardware inverter with the EH or ET series, but we will deactivate the storage function. So as you can see, there is no storage function, but at the same time with the PV, we are still able to support the backup power and so on. Of course, without the storage, we cannot 100% guarantee the 24/7 power supply, but it is still an added advantage with solar on your rooftop. In case of power outage, you would be able to still have a backup power output. And when you are ready for battery, when you are comfortable with the price of the battery, or you think it is necessary to have the battery now, it is also always possible to purchase the activation code from GoodWe, and the storage function will be activated remotely, and you can just plug in any GoodWe batteries, and then the whole system will function like a traditional, conventional storage system. So basically, we have options for the customers to go for hybrid ready first, which is future-proof. And then when you are ready for batteries, you can always purchase the activation code from us and then plug in the battery, and it will automatically become a fully functional energy storage system. So that is also another special features of our system. So another interesting solutions would be the ESA series. It's a 5 kilowatt inverter with a built-in battery bank as well as pre-wired box. The main reason of having these solutions is everything is pre-wired and it can save the installation time on site. So as you can see, it comes in a different modular block, and so basically it's just on site you just stack it up and then plug and play. So this is extremely popular in the Europe as well as Australia, where the installation cost, on-site installation cost is very high. So by using these solutions, it is able to save a lot of on-site installation costs. So the next one would be the features would be on the battery power solution, battery power reserve. It's a software function. As you can see, as I mentioned earlier, we have two functions. One is to maximize self-consumption, and one is to have backup functions so that we can have enough backup power of the battery bank capacity for our backup power reserve. So basically what you could do is through our PV Master apps, you can set the depth of discharge of for during grid connected operation and depth of discharge during the power outage connection. So what you could do is basically, like for example, you are setting 60% of depth of discharge during the on-grid conditions. That means the battery power that could be released during when there is a grid is only up to 40% of the battery capacity, while the remaining battery capacity would be reserved during power outage. By doing so, you are able to always have a peace of mind that you will have enough of power during power outage. So basically, it is all possible to combine two modes in one single mode by using these features. And of course, if you choose the operation mode of backup mode, then 100% of the battery capacity would be reserved only for usage during power outage. So as you can see, that our solution is very flexible. we allow you a full autonomy to decide which operation that you would like to use, and it's a mix and match that you can fully utilize the battery capacity by doing all these settings. And the next one is, like I mentioned earlier, is the time of use. So it's a economical mode. The operation mode, you need to select the economical mode. And for a period of a week, we allow you to set 4 different charge and discharge settings in a week. So basically, following the time of use tariff in the countries, you can always decide when you want to charge the battery and discharge the battery. So at the same time, you are also able to define what kind of percentage of the rated power that you want to be allowed to charge and discharge the battery. So these are all the settings that is allow you to do the manual settings. And at the same time, our platform also our monitoring platform also will allow you to do the load monitoring, because as you see in a single line diagram earlier that I showed, we always have this smart meter installed to do the controlling. So we will be able to collect the incoming load consumption, the energy that you are purchasing or exporting into the grid. So in our monitoring system, the Sense Portal, we were able to present you also all the data regarding the consumption, and can have a further analyze using this data that what is the ratio of your self-consumption of your PV power. So for example, how many percent of the PV generated power is used locally, and how many percent of generated power is sold to the grid. And at the same time, also your household load consumption, how much is supported by PV and how much is purchasing from the utilities. So we will have a very comprehensive analyzed data on our portal, and that will allow you to further optimize or improve your energy efficiency of your household. So that would be the technical functionality of our solutions. Next, I would like to highlight that GoodWe solutions is always designed with the mind that we want to save installation costs. We want to ease the operation and maintenance system. So as you can see, our inverter come with all kinds of accessories. We do not require customers to purchase additional accessories. Everything that you need for a complete functional storage system is included in our package. Also with smart meter and the city, the Wi-Fi communications, and also maybe the communication splitters when you do parallel case. So this is optional, but we can provide it if you need it. And what is most important is also we have all the cables readily connected to the inverter in our factory. So this will further save time for installation on site. And the Wi-Fi module is also installed in our factory. So everything is basically really pre-installed, and what you need to do on site is really plug and play and do some monitoring settings. So this is again the UPS level switching that we mentioned, the 10 milliseconds. So basically this is designed in such a way that we will be able to automatically detect the power outage and quickly switch over to the backup mode. So this will allow you to have everything automated, and you do not need to manually turn on your load again and so on. So a lot of our competitors in the market will not be able to do the 10 milliseconds UPS level switching. We are proud to say that we are one of the few that are able to do this. Yeah. And also the quick installation guide. So for experienced installers that is used to install GoodWe, we are always looking to an installation time within 1 hour. So like you can see, this is the breakdown of the installation time. So the highest that will take most time would normally be the meter connection, because that is something that you will need to do a lot of wiring job on the DB and so on. Yeah. Also, our commissioning settings is very simple. It's just a five simple steps. First, you need to set the Wi-Fi connection to the router so that the data from the inverter can be sent to our GoodWe Sense Portal monitoring cloud, and then you can have the data online. The next one is basically selecting the safety code that match your countries, as well as select the operation mode that you would wish to have. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a maximized self-consumption, backup mode, time of use mode, as well as force off-grid mode. So these are the four options that is available to you. You have to select it. And then the next one is to select different lithium-ion battery that you are matching. This is to ensure that our inverter is able to communicate with the battery BMS successfully. So each vendor will have different proprietary protocol. So you need to select it to make sure that the communication is successful. And last but not least is to do the meter test, and your system would be ready to go. So it's a simple 5-step settings. And again, like I mentioned earlier, this is we support 100% bi-directional output, as well as charging and discharging. So as you can see, we will ensure that there is no injection or power export into the grid. And at the same time, we will also make sure that even though with different kind of load, symmetrical output from the grid connected inverter can be used to charge the battery. So there will again no additional power losses to the grid, and also will minimize any unnecessary power purchase from the grid for charging the battery. So I think that is also very important for features to make sure that the whole system is working very successfully. These are the few vendors that we are working with for our batteries. So at our website, you are able to download a approved vendor battery vendor list. So these are the few vendor that work with our battery. GoodWe have our own battery itself as well, Links Home U and Links Home F, and we provide 10 years performance warranty for all our batteries. But of course, we are also partnering with our value partners, BYD, LG Chem. These are all very prominent manufacturer of the batteries, also Pilot Tech, Alpha, as well as Dynas. So we work with a lot of battery. Also, okay, so moving forward, our solutions has also improvised. So for our ET Plus series, we will have additional DO controls. So the point of having the DO controls together with an external connector is you are able to do the load shading. So for example, when there is the power is not enough to support all kinds of load, and you would like to minimize the purchase from the utilities, you do not want to purchase from the utilities to support your grid, or maybe the utilities do not have enough power to supply the load, it's possible to always go through this signal and then automatically shade the load from the consumption. So basically, you will turn off this load and reduce the load consumption locally. And everything can be done either over the apps manually, or you can do a setup where you can say, okay, I wish to switch off this load when there is. So like I said, moving forward, our new ET Plus series will come with an additional DO control. And with combination of the external conductor, we are able to realize the load shading function, where during insufficient solar generated power or battery power, we can also manually or automatically shade the load so that we can reduce the purchase power purchase from the utilities. So again, we are moving into an era of smart energy, which is also in line with our company's vision and mission to create a smart energy era. So basically, we are trying to maximize the usage of the solar generated power and try to move into a smart energy era. So the next one is also we have a comprehensive monitoring solutions. Besides the online remote monitoring, we also have a local monitoring apps called the PV Master, where customers easily can see the real-time data by connecting to the Wi-Fi hotspot of the inverter, and then to see how the energy is flowing, be it charging to your battery or exporting to the grid and so on. Also, at the same time, we also are working with open APIs and various utilities like in the Australias, where we are also doing the virtual power plant. So these are also some of the technology advancements that we are investing in and working on towards the direction of a smart energy era. The next one would be our app moving forward. Also, our app will be incorporating control over the smart plug. So it will go through a remote monitoring through the cloud, and then we are able to do to control the smart plug, to turn it on and turn it off. So basically, it's again some kind of load shading, and so it works with your smart plug and the local sockets. So this is again the overview of our visions for the smart energy residential solution or smart home system. So on top of your rooftop, you have solar installed on the top of your rooftop, and for all household importance load, you can always plug it with the smart plug, and it is able to control via the gateway and our inverters and so on. So yeah, and there is our energy storage inverter that is also aesthetically looking very pleasing, that you can also install in your living room with your batteries. And then moving forward, also we are also working on solutions that will support community solar system or storage system. So basically, all of our system is connected via the AC bus, and we can actually share the power between different houses within the communities. So again, this is a very important technology backbone for virtual power plant, as well as peer-to-peer energy tradings for residentials. And we are proud to say that we are working already on the technology backbones to realize such functions in the future, also with EV charging in mind. Yeah. So GoodWe is promoting a whole ecosystem for all the smart energy eras with solar, battery, as well as EV charging, as well as smart plug. So this is the whole ecosystem solutions that we are looking at for residential as well. So that's all from my presentation today. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the thing. I will try to look at whether we still have any questions here, and I try to address it. Okay, so we have one question from Mr. Sidek. Can I use it for totally off-grid solutions? The answer would be yes. Like I said, we have an off-grid mode, but off-grid mode, you need to be very careful on it, because basically you only have our inverter to support that. So you need to be very careful during your design to make sure that all your loads will not cause any overcurrent from the inverter, or else the inverter will keep on tripping. So this is the off-grid mode. So if there is any questions regarding the designs, we can always discuss it further offline. How can I use the battery for my own use only at certain times when I use TOU and discharge then inverter? How smart plug works. So basically, the smart plugs is the communication will be through the gateway, our gateway. So our control will be done over the remote our cloud remotely, and then you can try to turn on and turn off the smart plug via the apps. Yeah. So I see no further questions here. So Candice, and
hello everyone. If you have any questions, you can leave here and we will ask our technical to support, then send an email to answer the questions.
okay, last questions here, Candice. I would like to go for one last question. How the hybrid on-grid inverter works during grid outage? Does it needs ATS? Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, for our our switch over is integrated into the hybrid inverter, so you would not need the additional ATS to be installed externally. So let me go back to the slide that shows you how the UPS level. So this this topology is basically integrated in our inverter. So you can see that we have two outputs, on-grid outputs and backup outputs. When the grid is available, this relay is closed and this relay is closed. So basically the inverter power output will be supplied to the on-grid output as well as to the critical loads. So basically the critical loads and the grid connected loads is at the same connection point. But during power outage, when there is no grid power from the grid, so the relays will be open and this relay will be closed. This is extremely important so that we could achieve the anti-islanding function to ensure that the safety of the maintenance safety of the maintenance technicians of the grid operator, so that there is this grid connected output is not energized, but at the same time, any critical load within the household will still continue to be powered by our inverters. So these things function like ATS and it's integrated in our residential inverter. And we can achieve 10 milliseconds UPS level switch time. Yeah. 3 kilowatt is the smallest inverter. Yes. So we do have 3 kilowatt to 6 kilowatt for single phase and 3 kilowatt up to 10 kilowatt, 4 kilowatt up to 10 kilowatt for 3-phase inverter. What is the minimum hybrid inverter size for residential and also commercial? So the minimum hybrid inverter size for residential would be 3 kilowatt for a single phase. And yeah, the GoodWe server has open API. Yeah, we do have open API, but this need to be applied to our teams in advance, and we can provide you the open API if necessary. The last question from May is on-grid output and backup output power same for all inverter? Yeah, if on-grid output is required, yes, correct. So our on-grid output and backup output is always the same. And for single-phase inverter, we provide single-phase backup output power. And for 3-phase inverter, we provide 3-phase backup output power. So you get a full features from our solutions. I think that's all from my side. I thank you everyone for coming to join us during this lovely afternoon. I hope you have enjoyed our session and have some valuable takeaways from our sessions. So if you, like Candice mentioned, if you have any further questions, please drop it here and then we can able to ask our technical team to reply to you. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Goodbye.